Although, again, is OBS going to be lying about audio levels? I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? But we're back. We are bonded, you and I. We're like brothers.
And yet, the real son will never talk about the brother, nor will Kern or any of the people in between.
Nope, and he'll never get mentioned again, and we'll just forget about him.
So this is quite an important thing in concept. If he's joining the Mog, that means does that mean he's part of Martok's family? So
that's what I was just going to say. That did this carry over to that? Did Worf make that transfer? He doesn't even care about his own son half the time. So I mean, not that I'm surprised.
So basically, this kid gets a space email 50 years later saying, "By the way, you're now House of Martok." He's like,
he's going to get every time. You're now disgraced by the Empire.
Yep.
Oh, now you're back in favor with the Empire. Or now you're disgraced by the Empire. Oh, shit, now you're the House of Moog. Oh, by the way, you don't have a brother Kern anymore. What? He's going to get so many emails.
Oh, wouldn't it be great, though, if he was still the Enterprise during when Kern arrives in a few episodes? It's just like, wait, my uncle, my house uncle was here and you don't tell me? Sorry, I forgot you existed. What? We're bonded. There should be a fan film just where it cuts to this kid after every major event. And he's like, excuse me?
Should always cut to the sad, crying face of him.
Oh. And last note though, they should do like a it should be a driving license that he's got, like a space driving license, and it's like his House of Mog, whatever his name is, House of Mog, and then he has to say, he has to cut that up and say, I think his name House of Martok. Oh God, didn't get my bloody one. All right, hello. There you go. That was a fun opener.
That's all I have to say about this episode.
That's all I have to see about that.
There's not much. Considering the episode's called The Bonding, and that happened, in the last, minute and a half of the episode. Anywho. Ozzy Medeiros, though, is awesome and throws in $10, so thank you very much. Wow. Great way to get started with Super Chats. And Dan23, yes, I've noticed that you've not liked this episode. You keep saying it. I get it. We'll talk about it. But anyway, Ozzy throws in $10. All hail the great Captain Foley and the Commander, a.k.a., also known as the Governor, Skeleton Hands. It's not nice. Be nice to Samuel. Call him Samuel or Commander Cockings, or Commander. Stop with the Governor.
All of the. It's funny how I was set into this one based on the reactions of a few people last week. This one's going to be shitty. So I'm thinking, oh, everyone hates this episode. And watch it like, oh, well, they have bad taste. Huh. Weird. But it's kind of good, though. Low expectations is a good thing, because then, you blow past them. But it's like, oh, someone hate this. Not sure why. I'll start sharing, though. That's a good thing to do.
Share it.
With our lovely audience.
Share it. I got 4 words to say about this episode, and then we'll be done. So it'll be a half-hour episode. It'll be fine.
Then you have to super chat all the 2 hours in the first half an hour. Get them super chats out now.
I do have notes, though, so we got to go through the notes, I guess. But anyway. All right, guys. You know the routine. Ozzy set a great example there with the $10. Don't worry, Ozzy. I was just joking about the don't call him Governor thing. You can if you want. Just be nice to him, please. He's awesome. I think he can still hear us. I gotta say nice things. But guys, $10 is a great super chat. If you guys want to super chat and let us know your thoughts on this episode, I know Dan doesn't like it, even though he kept saying that I don't like it, and I'm not going to say that I don't like it too much. And then he says he doesn't like it again. Anyway, people keep arguing with me on bad season 1 and 2 episodes. I mean, everybody it's subjective. Some people like things that you don't like, and it's fine. It's the way the world works. But yeah, if you guys want to super chat and let us know your opinions, your thoughts, your questions, we'll read them out on air for you and talk about them. And again, it's a great way to support the channel. It helps us out. If you can join the channel at the rank of Commander, Captain, and Admiral, that would be greatly appreciated as well. Olivia Julius yesterday upgraded her membership to Admiral, which is fantastic. So if you guys can help out in that way as well, that's awesome. It's a monthly kind of thing, and you get some cool stuff for the live chats as well, so that you can have some fun with the stickers and the emojis and the badges and all that cool stuff. Badges? We don't need no stinking badges. Or you can join us over on Patreon/Trekyards. Same thing, monthly kind of system that helps us. It's kind of the backbone of the show. You know, YouTube fluctuates quite a lot with ad revenue and stuff. So great way to help us out is Patreon. Or if you want to send a PayPal, the information for all that is down in the links or in the description below. Links to a whole bunch of cool stuff. Eagle Moss, Teespring store, the Trekyard stuff down there, and a bunch of other stuff. So just check out the description. And of course, the best way to help us, hit that like button, click the bell notification icon, select all, because the all algorithm is important. And also, well, because it notifies you. And also just share this video around, or any videos that you enjoy of Trekyards, just share them around and let people know that you like it and that they should probably watch it. If you like it, they might like it. Commander Thribs, what are the differences between Commander and Captain? Not much. You'd have to read the descriptions. I don't remember at this point.
Hello.
Hello, and Ozzy throws in another $10 and says, okay, Skeleton Hands. He's calling me Skeleton Hands now. That's fine.
Then we are both.
And we will be brothers as I greet you. 3 guesses who that might be.
Dan 23.
Ron.
Okay.
Jersey. Ron.
Michael Dorn.
Oh, yeah, he's here. How'd you know?
But Stuart. And
Hi, Jill.
What do you think of season 5, The Bonding?
I had completely kind of forgotten everything that happened in this, except for like little pieces, and I can see why.
So it's a flying bug, so I'm still listening, don't
worry. I don't know. It's one that I know why I don't remember it, and like I said, it's got the creepy kid from RoboCop 2 in it, so that's all I think of when I see this episode. And it's got an interesting premise. I guess that the aliens want to take care of them, and they don't understand our reluctance. It's kind of interesting, but overall, it's just kind of an episode for me. There's not a lot that really happens that's exciting or thrilling, so it's just kind of meh. There we go. That's my quick summary.
But just on that one thing for a second, Star Trek isn't about being thrilling or exciting or actions happening. You know, Measure of a Man is the top-rated Star Trek episode, pretty much, and it's got none of those things. So
it's got great writing, some good speeches.
Yeah, so there's a balance that has to be brought over. You know. Anyways, yeah. So this one, obviously, I thought it was a different episode because it looks like the same white kid to me. So basically, I remember nothing about this episode. It was completely a fresh start, and if I've only seen it once when I was 9, obviously I remembered the costume of the kid, and I sort of remember the costume of the lady, but nothing else in it at all. Nothing. So it's a completely fresh watch for me, which is kind of cool. I got to watch TNG again for the first time, really. And yeah, it's an episode that is very Star Trek, but not quintessentially Star Trek, meaning you could move this to another franchise and still work. It wasn't as rooted in Star Trek lore. That said, it was a true ensemble piece, which TNG often isn't. Everyone got something to do, and everyone kept being brought back, except Geordie, but he gets so much to do anyway, that's not a problem. So it's a very big ensemble piece, surprisingly so, where everyone got good stuff to do. It's very well written, and very intelligently written. Problem is that it creates this initial pace. You know how I've talked about other episodes where it kind of starts, and then it can ramp up and then done? This sort of goes until the point where they're talking about the kid, and then continue the exact same pace, without any deviation, doesn't get slower, doesn't get faster, just sort of exists for 40 minutes, which is interesting and is well written, but you never really get in the vibe of it because it doesn't really create an interesting vibe. But it's still like well written. It's missing something, and it wouldn't take much to ramp this up. But it's an incredibly solid foundation. It's definitely not bad. It's just missing that something to kind of make it stronger. But it's a surprisingly good script. Surprisingly, considering I was being told it was rubbish. It's not rubbish.
No, I agree. About it being rubbish, it's not bad. It's just not, it's not one that exciting. I enjoy very much.
Yeah,
it's not one I enjoy very much.
But it's well written, and it's a genuinely good case study about loss, which they never do. Not really. This was a
Mm-hmm.
full episode about the idea of loss. That's impressive. And the commitment level. I do think that the boy was passable with some good, but never great. He's fine.
I think he's a shit actor in everything I've seen him in, so...
Yeah. The thing is, when you play scenes, it is whenever you get a scene where you're acting internally, often they can look like you're not acting or doing anything. Really good actors can make micro expressions and you can feel it. He had so many scenes where it's like, you're just sort of there. You know? So if they had a better kid actor, would have been better. That would have ramped up hugely. But it really wasn't about him. It was like, I was surprised the first 30% he's not even in it. It's just about Picard and Troy. I was like, this is really good stuff. He evolves in, but it's still mostly about other people. And he's even in scenes where he has no dialogue, where he's the focus, but he's not really.
Yeah.
He's just the catalyst. It's not about him. So I think you can, if he was a bit stronger, I would have brought that up. But I mean, God, so much stuff here. So much stuff. Very surprising.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing your thoughts for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's get it started.
Okie dokie.
Like I said, there's not a whole lot that I really want to talk about necessarily. I got notes, but just kind of like what's going on in the episode. So, so it starts out with an archaeological expedition. They found some markings in caves that belong to the ancient Canonians, Coanians, whatever. Evidence suggests that they destroyed themselves. So it's like, okay, this is something cool. They're maybe looking for something important or whatever. All of a sudden, Troy freaks out, and she's like, "Get them out of there now!" Picard's like, "What's going on?" And then we get a request for emergency beam out. So, I mean, it's all right. We find out that the ship's archaeologist, makes it seem like there's only one, Marla Astor, has been injured or, well, killed in an explosion.
Yes, heavily injured, Stuart. Heavily injured, yes.
Well, she might have still been alive when she got beamed aboard. We don't know.
Sure.
But yeah, they get beamed to sickbay. You see the wound. And then we get to the opening titles.
It was one of their shortest pre-titles.
Yeah, there are some really short ones, and some are like 5 minutes long.
Yep. Because this is like a minute and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
Very quick. It's very abrupt. The problem, obviously, being is that to introduce a character we don't know and then to kill them, barest bones of emotional weight. And this lady right here, even though I know what the actress is meant to look like, it doesn't look like the actress to me. So if they wanted to really cement it, you should have had actually close up to her face where you completely cement, or see a pre-title with her in the sun. Like, there are better. I know there's so much dialogue that you can barely fit in. I get that, but there should have been a scene with her on the planet, with her and Worf being all pally and setting her up as somebody, and maybe act differently to the later version. You needed that bit of connection, but again, it's not about her or this boy. It's about the idea of loss and learning. So I get that, but still, you know what I mean? That's why it doesn't quite work. And there's a question about why does Troy know that there's going to be an explosion even though no one would know? The title doesn't make sense, but it's because she's sensing the feelings of the energy beings who realise they're about to be blown up, and so she's sensing oh my god, they're about to blow up. Because she sensed it before anything happened.
No, I think the explosion happened. She sensed immediately what happened. It took a minute. It took a second or two for them to say emergency beam out, because they're not gonna. She sensed it as it happened because they were the only people on the planet. She was probably monitoring the Boy team. Yeah. Realized something drastic happened, and then we got the emergency beam out call. So I don't think it was the aliens that she was sensing at all.
This is the way I just finished watching it like 2 minutes ago. What I remember hearing is that she's like, "Captain, get off the planet." He says, "Lock onto them," and then you hear "Wolf to Captain." There's been a thing, but it's still the way it's edited. It feels a little bit too early. I guess obviously if Wolf they exploded and then they fell back and they got up again, fine. But it feels a little bit whatever. And I like how he's holding a phaser against an explosion. Good old Wolf.
Yeah, I got a great shot of Worf's tattered, brand new tunic. I mean, it's only episode 5 in season 2. I was checking to see whether it was like an old one. It's not.
Yeah. But happy reuse of the silver dude costume from last week.
Mm-hmm. And some good makeup on his shoulder, and like just it looks great. It looks fantastic.
It's not
But
overdone, which is good.
yeah,
Yeah.
but Worf. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was about to summarize the scene. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Worf just says that she was 3 meters behind him when the device went off. So he had just passed it, and he obviously feels responsible because he was the team leader. So, no, that's about it. We find out that she's of course dead, and that she has a 12-year-old son named Jeremy, whose father is also deceased. His only living relatives are an aunt and uncle residing on Earth. So,
Yeah, no, I love Michael Dorn's performance here. There's so many, like these actors knew this was important, and this is almost like the drug PSA one, which was badly done, in season 1. They all are taking such care in their words and their deliveries. You can feel it. Like I wouldn't even think anything of it if this one actually got a bit more rehearsal time or a bit more on set time, just to kind of nuance it. Because Michael Dorn is brilliant here, and the loss on everyone and the feeling. Because again, these are professional officers. They can't be like, Mr. What if you suck? They've got to be professional but still feeling, and they balance that so well here because they're still professionals. They're not overreacting. They're not underreacting. They are reacting appropriately, and it feels so solid and believable. It's very, very good writing and therefore acting.
Yeah, so Worf steps up. He wants to tell the boy, and Picard's like, "That's my job.
Yep.
You just take care of yourself here."
Yeah.
And then we get a shot to the. Well, he messages the bridge while they're walking through the corridor, and lets them know that Marla Astor died. And Riker looks at Wes and goes over and says, "You know what? You've lost a parent. You can help." No, he doesn't really say that, but
well, yeah, he says I'm going to go see the young Astor, and obviously Wesley's thinking. Back obviously this because you never really get much on the whole Beverly's husband dying, but I mean for TNG not be much about canon as in continuity of its old stories. This brings back Tasha directly and this directly. This is a very canon-y episode, and it uses it very effectively. They pull, and also Worf's parent, every bit of the universe they say, well, we can put in, we're going to put in, and it's like, neatly put together.
And then Wes kind of gives Riker a look and asks, "How do you ever get used to telling people?" And Riker's like, "You hope you never do." It's got to be difficult for sure. So I mean, this is well played.
Yeah. And it's one of those things also that so few people do die that it's still a big deal. It always amazes me when you get these things like a few years ago. 3 people have died in Afghanistan. I'm thinking, oh great, only 3. The number is so small because each person is important. Whereas obviously in World War One, it's like 3,000 people have died. Blah blah blah. So it's each person's important, even if it's such a small number. And so yes, a person has died. That is just as,
Well, that ties in later with the conversation that Riker and Data have, where Data's like, I don't feel this loss as much as Tasha. Why is that? And Riker just explains it's different when it's a friend, it's someone close.
Yeah,
he always says
that's a good moment.
Yeah. Anyway, so we see Worf and the candle and the knife. He puts out the candle. Nice little scene. Well lit, cool silhouette to start it out.
Well, I'm surprised it's blue and not red, but I guess they thought red would be too obvious.
Because
I'm like, blue is not the Klingon colour. Maybe it's the Klingon morning colour, but
maybe.
Like, just feels a bit slightly odd. And then you get a very, very cramped and well-acted scene of these two. What exactly do they say? Because again, each scene here has something important, which is quite nice.
This is where they stop the turbo lift, and Picard's like, kids on starships or families on starships is a very questionable policy.
Yeah.
He's always thought so.
It's good.
So I mean, this is a good conversation. I love that Troy's here. She's doing her job. She's being a counselor. She's not only the captain, not only the kid that they're going to see, but also the captain because he's got to deliver the news.
And Worf.
So, yeah. So this is great. This is actually a very awesome scene.
And it also delves into, like we had the other day with a topic that we never get to about last week or Monday or Tuesday. What if first contact is absolutely, what if the Prime Directive is actually genuinely botched? This is, well, let's dwell on one death. And what audiences were saying, I'm sure, since season 1, why are there kids on a starship? Here we get in dialogue, here we get, it all there. And Troy's saying, the death would have felt just as bad here or on Earth. At least here they're doing things, and he says, yes, but the difference between Earth and here, Earth isn't going to go into the neutral zone and get attacked. The Enterprise will. So,
yeah.
And she says, well, yes, but the mum decided Starfleet and the risks, and he said, well, what about the boy?
Yeah, the boy didn't choose it.
He didn't choose it. So how can you, it's a really good conversation. Again, very, very adult. I'm sure kids at the time would have just completely tuned off already, because there's nothing here for them. This is a fully adult, serious, mature sci-fi that is better now than it was then, in terms of meaning something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then we get them talking to little Jeremy Astor.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. My order, in the Turbo Lift 2, he also says my order sent his mother to her death. Mm-hmm. She understood her mission, and my duty will he. But then he goes and talks to him and says, that no one is alone on the Starship Enterprise, because after he finds out his mom is dead, he's like, I'm alone. And he touches his hand, which is really nice. Again, this is Picard we're talking about. A lot of people say that he absolutely hates kids and is always grumpy. Not necessarily the case. I thought it was a well-played scene.
Yeah, it's a whole, it's an odd scene how unacting the kid is. He just accepts it.
Well, everybody deals with it differently, and exactly. He's kind of in shock, I think, too.
Yeah, well, and as they explicitly say later on, he's just trying to be the good Starfleet officer, as Wesley was also in season 1. Because if he's, even though he's got play and he's got kids here, he's dealing. Everyone is in Starfleet. Everyone's an officer. If you somehow lived on a submarine or an aircraft carrier, and everyone around you is saying yes sir and walking around with a brisk walk, you'd think that was normal. So he's he's taking the responsibility of being an officer as part of his life, because he's done this for a long time now. So I get it. It's just it's hard to connect with the actor when he's not connecting with the audience. He's not trying to. It's all internal, and so the scene falls a little bit more flat than it should. Especially when Picard's being so good. And considering he doesn't like kids, he's being full force here.
Well, I think Zachary makes a good point in the comments. I don't think he hates kids. He hates them on starships. And I agree with that. He doesn't think it's the place for them necessarily, considering that everybody on that ship's under his responsibility, essentially. And that's why he doesn't want them on the bridge. They don't belong there. And I kind of get that. So it's not that he hates kids. But.
Well, I think what Sergeant Picard said is apt. He doesn't not like them. Just doesn't like the time, the responsibility, the lack of control, the instability of them. It's all that stuff. It's still the kids, but you're right. Kids on the ship doubly so. That's probably why it's less tolerant. But, this is his solemn responsibility, and how many times do you think he's actually done this? Honestly,
a lot.
Okay, not all of them have obviously children, but best of, Q Who. I think 14 people died. How many people whose kids or Yeah, sad. Then we get the scene with Riker and Data, and I gotta say I'm semi in love with this scene because it's all extreme close-ups.
Yeah, extreme close-ups.
What a bold choice! This is it's so intimate that way. It was such a smart, simple decision, and I'm like, damn, this is not like any other scene in TNG that I can remember. Just literally the most extreme close-up possible. Wow, great scene. But yes, re-summarize it, Stuart, because now we're here.
So Data comes up and asks Riker, how well did you know Lieutenant Astor? He says, not very well. I mean, we hung out a few times. Why do you ask? And, then Data says, Riker says to Data, how well did you know her? Not very well. And then Data asks, why do you ask that question? Why does everybody ask that question? I've been asked a few times how well I knew her. Riker brings up Tasha, and Data's like, I don't feel this way. I don't feel the way I did when Tasha died. Why is that? And Riker again goes to explain that it's a lot. Means a lot. It feels a lot different when it's someone close to you, a friend or a family member. And Data says, shouldn't all lives be treated equally as far as when they die? And I love Riker's response. He's like, human history would be a lot less bloody if we felt every loss as intently as we did that of a friend. And it's true. It's what goes back to what you said. Instead of hearing like 3,000 people dead, you hear 3 people dead. You're like, oh, whew, good. It's not really good, but it is in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, it's a good scene.
And it's a scene that doesn't go where I think you think it goes. At the start, when Data asks Riker, he's obviously uncomfortable, but I took his first oh yeah, I knew her. I took it as that half second of, oh yeah, we went on a couple of dates. I almost kissed her, or I got to second base, like that sort of connection. Then he doubles up and he's like, oh, and I don't know her. So you think it's going one way and it isn't, and it's just such an interesting scene because the fact that, again, it's a PSA, but effortless, right? And without being obnoxious. But the fact that Riker basically says to Data, you are feeling human emotions here, and Data doesn't correct him and just sort of understands his own process. Is like, it's the human condition. Data's like, oh yeah. I mean, the fact that Data can feel the loss of Tasha more than this random person, like, that shows how far he's come in 2 years, 3 years, It's a really interesting character thing, and again, the filming of it was beautiful choice. And if you want to take HD screen caps of the people in high res, this is a great scene because they're right up camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fleet Pass Swiftback puts in $2, 51 likes with 84 watching. Hit like, hashtag make me pay. Yes. 90 people watching right now. Everybody hit like. Don't forget to super chat if you have a question or comment. It's really important. And yeah.
Well, and only 55 likes. I mean, I want to see at least 65. I think that's not hard.
Oh, that should be easy.
So, do it. Do it.
But the next scene is in the... they send Geordi back down. We get the notification that Geordi's back on the ship. Next scene is in the ready room, and we find out that he's uncovered some subspace proximity detonators that even a tricorder would never be able to detect. But it seems like they were all dug up and left there to be found. So obviously that happened after the explosion. The energy beings, I think, did that after the fact, and it's never really confirmed, but it's that one line of dialogue that makes it seem like that's the case. So and it looks like a chess piece.
Yeah. No, this is a very intriguing scene because again, I didn't remember the story, so I'm like, oh, okay, But a bit of factoid here. This episode was the very first one Ronald D. Moore wrote for Star Trek.
Yeah.
But then was heavily rewrote by Melinda Snodgrass, who wrote Measure of a Man and the one we just watched. Hence the incredible writing quality, because yes, by a talented writer and a very talented writer, talk about it being sensitive and intelligent and adult and clever. I mean, yes, there you go. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And Dimas Alves puts in $10, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
I never understood the whole families on starships concept. I'm glad they smartened up in DS9, at least after the war. Well, yeah, eventually, like, the Enterprise E didn't have families, and yeah, they had to change their mindset a little bit. But
I mean, I'm not... It's because, if you're doing 7 to 10 year missions, do you want to go when your kid's 3 and you come back and he's 13, you've missed everything? It's like how often people say, oh, without shields, your ship would be destroyed. It's like, yeah, because shields are meant to be on the entire time. These ships aren't designed for war or combat or face situations. They get in maybe 1 battle a year or 2, and everything on the ship is designed to protect people. That's the most you could do. So for 360, obviously, yes, only 1 day needs to go shitty. But it's like, so it's like, well, why take kids in a car if when you crash they might die? Because you need to get places and do things, and why go to the zoo when that risks? We don't need to take them. You need to take them to school, but why take them to the zoo? You might crash because the experience is worth it. So yes, it's not the best idea, but what they could gain by this is so much more worth the risk. So it was a good scheme, and it led to, I'm sure, hundreds and thousands of new applicants to Starfleet Academy that had a much better ability. And I mean, Wesley's entire career was started because he was on the ship and was able to learn on the job. So I hope that justifies it to some of you, because that's justified to myself.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, next scene, we get the reuse of the computer core room, which is nice. I kind of like this room.
It's such a non-room, but still a room. It's weird.
Yeah, and the filming is weird because they're kind of behind a grate for a lot of it.
Yep.
But anyway, so basically what happens here is Worf's pretty upset. First of all, that she died under his command, but the fact he cannot seek revenge against an enemy that long ago turned to dust centuries ago. And he basically talks about seeking the bonding with this kid to help him out. He's an orphan, and so is Worf, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I wish to honor his mother. And then Troy basically responds by saying, his anger is deep. When he lashes out, it will be in all directions, even at you. Talk to him when he's ready. Mm-hmm. We will know. But just don't push anything right now. Don't get too rammy in that regard.
Well, it does feel like Worf's being very abrupt, and this is arguably the same day. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it probably is. Yeah.
Yeah, but as Worf does go into later, from the Klingon perspective, the body is, as we know from Discovery, it doesn't mean anything. It should never be kept or preserved or sarcophagized. It's just let go and Discovery.
It's an empty husk.
Yeah, it's about the spirit. So obviously, in his mind, this is the thing that gives you closure. So I get the perspective. He's just being a bit insensitive to the humanness, but his responsibility and guilt makes him want to do something. And all he knows is the Klingon way. So it's again a good scene. And again, there's so much of Picard, Worf, and Deanna in this episode, and it's actually relatively well balanced. You never really get that. Like they underplay Data and Geordi, which often get a lot of time, to give these people time. And boy, again, Troy can act. Marina can act when you give her things. And Michael Dorn, this is not his biggest episode so far, give or take.
I wouldn't say. Oh, it's up there, yeah, but it's not.
At least the amount of stuff he's been given, I should say. Not so best performance, but amount has been given. Yeah.
But then Worf goes and visits Jeremy's watching videos of his mom and dad at home. Worf comes in.
Oh, and did you know the kid, it was 5 years ago, looks no different.
Yep.
13 and 7.
Yep.
Or 8.
Yep.
Weird that. As if they filmed it the same week.
Well, it could have been, to be fair, it could have been filmed in the holodeck last week. They recreated their house and their dad to have Father's Day. They filmed it. Just.
But they say they lived on a 5. Okay. Sure. I just found it a little bit funny. That it's he looks no different. They didn't try at all.
Yeah, well. Anyway, Worf comes in and says,
I'm not a merry man.
Basically, she was under my command, and she did her duty. Let's bring meaning to your mother's death.
Yep. What's why says to Troy, I can't get revenge on a race that is dust. Again, beautiful concept. It's how do you? There was no point. There was no point to this. So let's bring some meaning by giving the ritual, and that's lovely. It's great.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's not much in that scene that I didn't take a lot of notes for, so I don't know if you picked up anything else.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah. But then we get the ready room, and Troy comes in, tells Picard that Worf wants to do the bonding.
And do you like how he pauses I totally know what that is. Oh yeah. It's such a long pause of that ritual that I've totally heard of, that we all know about the Starfleet. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it's basically a simple conversation about how we got to be kind of delicate with the situation. It must be handled very, delicately, I guess is the best way to put it. And that's all I have for notes on this. I mean, I didn't take a lot of notes for that scene, unfortunately. So.
Well, that's the problem with it. Such a good script is you got to live it, and you can't write the entire script. And a lot
Exactly.
of small moments. And we don't just like to recite script here per se. But again, another good scene. That I like the fact that Picard says, I did my duty, and you're the one that's got to keep going. But she has her own plan, and she wants to. It's nice. It's gentle. Again, it's such a mature episode. You kind of almost think that either Ronald or Melinda had genuine loss in their life, because this episode feels personal. It feels as if there's real. They're pulling from something here. I was saying that Will Wheaton may be pulling something, because at the end he's good acting. Like, you buy it. Don't know if they're actually taking from memory. But yes, then something's happening on the planet. Oh, no, it's not. Okay.
And hold on, Dan23 says, "What's the point of him displaying an open book in a case? What's the page he's on?" And
what's the Shakespeare book?
Exactly. I displayed some books too like that.
What's the point in collecting anything and having it on any surface?
Yeah.
Because what's the point of having a poster of a ship when you have a holographic... Sorry, Dan, daft question. It's called a display piece. Anyone can have anything. I mean, some people have taxidermy. Some people kill a lion, have a lion face on a wall. How distasteful is that, to 91% of the population?
Yeah. Anyway, as you said, something's happening on the planet, so they...
Great planet zoom-ins. Good-looking planet model.
Yeah. They picked up an energy field on the planet's surface. And Troy says she's sensing a presence on the planet now.
Some sort of life form, but she doesn't understand what it is. Which I thought was a bit weird how this bit, for a while, is very similar to 2 episodes ago, with the God Alien. Can create matter, unknown life form, inside the ship a little bit. There's a few, do you have to have another similar feel, But
yeah, the computer displays on the main monitor are great. Really love that.
But effective, which is simple but effective, yeah.
But now we're in sickbay. Well, doctor's office, specifically.
This made me laugh a little bit. Can you guess why? Just this intro.
No.
Okay, so Wesley walks in and says hi. I was like, his mum's like, hi! And then she talks to him about her thing. It's like, Wesley, why did you walk in this room and let's talk to her about something you want to talk about? And she completely doesn't care what he wants to say, as if there's a script they have to follow. It's a very inorganic start. It's like, I must walk in so you can talk to me. You are talking to me. Let's talk about, it's like, well, why are you walking in to see her if there's no reason? At least say something first.
Well, I think he's thinking about Jeremy and his mom, and the fact that Jeremy has no mom anymore, so he went to visit his mom, just say hi.
Okay.
Talk to her when you can.
Didn't like how this first bit was written. It just feels about, like I say, it's too abrupt and it's too scripty rather than real conversation. But as soon as it gets into it, it's nice. And again, I'm sure Gates was really happy with this. It's like real connection stuff with her and Wesley. And he always leaves, but then comes right in even more extreme close-ups. Again, we don't often do that level of extreme close-up. Definitely deliberate choice.
Well, she says that Troy was wondering if you'd talk to Jeremy. And he's like, why me? Well, he has no one. When your father died, we had each other.
Yep.
Maybe talking to someone closer to his age would help.
Yep.
And Wes like, I'll think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love that because, he doesn't necessarily want to do it.
He doesn't. I mean, he's... I mean, why would you want to relive this? It was hard enough the first time. And obviously, your only advice in this situation is, it sucks, I get it. Because it's not about giving advice, it's about listening to a person who can talk to you because you understand.
Mm-hmm.
You being there is enough.
Yeah. I got a nice touchy moment where she almost cries at the end when they're talking about. So I like that. It was well done.
Again, beautifully written, beautifully acted, very well done. Feels very real and raw. It's good.
Mm-hmm. But then we're back on the bridge, and we get a fluctuation in the containment field of the ship. Which I think is kind of neat, how this ties into the ship to do its thing, which we find out later.
Yeah, it's a nice way to sort of like ground the sci-fi. As weird as that sounds, the fact that this energy life form has to feed on your energy to do more than her own basics. It's nice. It's simple. And it's clever.
Yeah. Mark Lawrence, $5.
Hey, Mark.
Sorry, I'm late. Did some nuck earlier, and lost track of time. I don't know what that is.
NUK.
Nuke? I don't know.
He nuked a planet?
Yes,
from
he
orbit?
Does.
That's
it's the only way to be certain.
What's that from?
Aliens.
Okay, yeah. I think it's Starship
Nuke the
Troopers for a
entire
second.
site from orbit. It's the only way to be certain.
Except it doesn't work because if you play Aliens, Colonial Marines, the entire basis is fine. It's still got power. If they got nuked. Yeah, great. But yes, then the reveal. And I have a slight problem with this actress in these first bits because she's playing it silly. Like, I don't buy it at all because but it's also an alien pretending to be a figment of a memory of, is meant to be weird. But I'm just like, woman, you can't act very well until like the second half of her performance she gets better. That's meant to be the vibe, so it's like, it is what it is,
Yeah. I just wrote Jeremy's mom is back. Yay!
Mom! Yep.
So we find out there's highly charged particles heading towards the Enterprise. There is a presence on the Enterprise, sir. Exciting. Then we get...
Yeah, we get Jeremy not being convinced, which is nice.
Well, they said you were dead.
Well, to be fair, you would think it was hallucination first, wouldn't you? That'd be your first reaction, is that you're having a mental break.
Yeah.
But that's why the touching thing, physically touching, that changes that's the switch, isn't it?
Yeah. And she's like, well, let's go down to the planet.
Planet? What?
We'll live on a home like we used to on Earth.
And he's like, what?
Well, he gives her a hug, and he's definitely... I don't know. I don't like his acting. I don't like this kid. It's just me.
Well, it's because everyone else is so good. If this was a mediocre Trek episode, it would make more sense. But also, this woman's acting isn't the best either.
Yeah.
Ironically, these two people are the worst part. The weakest part of this episode is these two people.
Yep. The main focus.
And they're the focus, but they balance it so well by being like 80% not with the minute. It's very strange. Very, very strange.
Yeah. Yeah, and Eric, I agree. Eric Morgan in the chat says, shouldn't someone be with this poor kid? I'm thinking, why is he in his quarters alone looking at the old videos?
Well, whose responsibility is it, though?
There's got to be people. There's 1,000 people on the ship. There's got to be staff for that kind of thing.
Most of them have jobs, though. And I assume the teacher, you could probably argue like one of the teaching assistants or one of the teachers. I mean, they mentioned that later. They've got class. We haven't seen them yet, but yeah, I mean, but it's probably the same day. Like, you don't get a sense of time passing.
No, it's true.
It's very raw. So if this is like 3 hours
it feels
after,
very quick.
Then Picard's just been there. He's left. He's in his room reacting. That's it. There's no other. I mean, if you think about being like the same 5-hour stretch, then Worf is the guy who's coming in to deal with them. So
And Sean O'Neill says he could stay with the O'Briens. There is no O'Briens yet. They aren't married yet. I don't even know Keiko exists. This was the happy days for O'Brien. Anyway, Worf shows up.
But I mean, she's on the ship. Maybe they're dating at this point because I mean, several years they'll get married. What's her actual name? What's her Ishiakwa? That's her name.
Who, Keiko?
Then Keiko Ishiaka. So I think what's her maiden name? Sorry, yeah. Her father's name is Hero. Her mother's name is Mrs.
Nice.
Never given an actual name.
Nice.
That was funny. Sorry.
Anyway, Worf comes in and is like, there's shit going on down here, guys.
And he pulls out his micro Type 1, which you barely can see, and this is why they stopped using Type 1s, because it's very, very... I'm pointing my thumb at you. Doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, there's no problem here, I'm just here to...
Take my boy.
Yep. And Picard and Troy head down.
But what do you think about Worf's reaction, though? Because he's chief security officer, and he doesn't exactly...
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It doesn't really...
But do you think, though... if this is imagine it's the same day, right? He might be legitimately thinking, maybe she's not dead. Because you wouldn't connect random alien planet with alien life form. There's a little bit of a leap there. So maybe he's thinking, what could this be? I'd rather learn rather than shoot. And this is the woman he's now thinking of. So I think there's some...
You should just give him credit for not shooting right away, because he's Worf. He wants to shoot at everything.
But I think he's having mini PTSD here. That's making him think too hard. In this situation, a good thing. But it's an interesting choice with how, like... And then obviously Picard says, let them go. And it's like, okay. Sure.
But they leave the apartment and they're heading to transporter room 3.
O'Brien's domain.
I
love his face as he walks in. He's like, did I hear you meant to be dead? I guess not. Ah, weird. It's just like, I guess that memo was a joke. Because, it's, you know... It's not
yeah.
I just like that face. It's like, oh, okay. Sure. Sorry. I like that face.
Yeah, but anyway, they want to beam down to the planet, and Picard and Troy show up. And it tells Jeremy that appears to be your mother, but it's not. She's not real. Well, it's funny because Jeremy's like, don't you see her? Like, am I the only one that sees her?
Yeah.
Because the way he points at her and says, look at her, it's her.
Who are you? Don't you see her? Yeah, it's very literal, yeah.
Yeah. We find out this is where Picard says there's only dust and rocks on the planet. So what's going on? Why are you doing this? And Worf pulls him off the transporter pad, which is kind of traumatizing. I don't know if I'd do that necessarily. But then she disappears. So, and Matt Boardman, the hair gel is strong with this kid. Yeah,
that was a bad choice.
Oh yes. Yes.
That's why I thought of Data Kid, because that's the exact same look they for Data Kid.
Yep. Only straight back.
Yeah. That was a bad choice, Gel. Does not suit him well. Now, my one biggest complaint, I think, with this episode, beyond these two people being his weakest part, is that we get a little bit too much repeated. It's not really your mother. It is me. I'll take you. No, you won't. Yes, you will. Like, there's a few...
And she disappears, and because, like, she was real. Yeah.
It's like, it's the same stuff. Many times. Now it's almost annoying. I think as you're watching it, you're obviously wanting the story to happen, but in retrospect, you're thinking, yeah, they probably spent about too many scenes. It's
one of the issues I have with this episode.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing.
It's the same last episode with the guy. You know, one tones. Like we get it. Do something else with that.
Yeah.
The problem is this lady, and he's a very one-dimensional, like, in the sense of she just wants to help. There's no other levels here. So therefore, all she can give is, there isn't anything more to the alien.
Hold on, we got a super chat from Apollo Serenus. It says, you two brought this up in my autoplay while I was in my kitchen, and I momentarily thought the commander was Alexander Siddig.
Hello! I played Dr. Bashir on a Star Trek Deep Space Nine and in TNG once.
Just say Vantica.
Vantica?
You don't have his...
When does it say Vantica? What does Vantica mean?
When he becomes Vantica, that's where he gets, like, possessed by a guy named Vantica.
What?
Anyway.
What? That's a rude word in Canada, isn't it?
No, it's not.
You made me say penis, didn't you? Or something really, really rude in Canadian, because I have no idea what you're on about.
No. It's just when he says Vantica in that episode.
Which episode?
I don't know. It's like season
Guys,
1 or
help
2.
us. When did Vantica appear? And is it just a rude word?
Oh my god, it's not. Let's wait for the chat, because they'll tell you where it is. Passenger.
Passenger, okay. Is it the fifth passenger or just the normal passenger?
Just the normal passenger.
Oh, Adjudicating Brown. Cool. Okay.
Or no, Hero Worship. Star Trek. No, that's not it.
I mean, I don't remember this one either, so, I mean, Adjudicating Brown, isn't it? But...
It's a season 1 episode, says Matt Boardman. I can't remember the name of the episode.
I like this is the passenger. This is her redress of the Excelsior set. You can absolutely see. That's cool. Huh. Stuart, doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Doesn't matter.
Yes,
anyway.
I'm Sindig, and I approve this message.
So Troy takes him back, and they have a little conversation about how that was my mother, and no, it wasn't. Takes him back to his...
It's a very gentle scene, although my biggest problem now at this point is that there are holodecks, mate, and holograms. No one ever mentions that. The concept that you can recreate people, never brought up. Never an option. And he should understand that there can be not real people. Doesn't seem to get that. Just saying. Yes.
Anyway, they go into his quarters, which is his house on Earth, which is really cool. It's a nice transition.
It is.
Because Deanna's like, the hell? I've never seen this part of the ship.
Did you get the exclusive package?
Yeah. Exactly.
Those 50 extra credits a week really do give you the best quarters. And I actually was quite enjoying this moment because I'm like, they filmed these bits with the mum earlier. I'm like, oh, okay, they used it also they filmed in. Good use of great, they used it. Although it's absolutely a redress of 2 weeks ago, that same house set. It's the same stairs, I feel like. The same stairs, just from a different,
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yes, the mum's there. She's like, look, I made our house. We'll be happy now. I love you so much.
I got nothing to say. It's just like, oh, look, it's Patches. Whoop-de-doo, it's my cat.
Oh, yeah, he feels a bit dumb saying, no, he recognised me. It must be him. I'm thinking, you've been to the holodeck, you little shit. You can program it to think it's you. But again, he's in mourning the same day. And she's like, we must go. And he's like, no, I can't go. It's like, okay then. Fun for you.
So Deanna messages Picard and says, she appears to want to help to ease his pain.
Yeah.
But, there's some crazy shit going on here.
Yep.
And then we find out that there's a beam from the planet that's tapping into the primary power supply to create this manifestation.
Which means she has limits. That's the important thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're going to try matching shield harmonics, which will sever the beam.
Although the way he says it, they're going to match the harmonics to the harmonics of the...
To match the harmonics of the
deuterium or whatever. Problem is, if the alien's going through the harmonics of the deuterium, then if you match the shields, it'll go through easier because then you'll match it with the things you can already go through. You should change them both, surely. But whatever. It was like, you shouldn't match things. It'd be... I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, if it was that easy to get through the shields, that wouldn't just be a stopgap, wouldn't it? Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, they do that, and...
It all goes away.
It all disappears, and he's back in his actual... And
Good
then his stand-up and his hunched shoulders, and he kind of walks, and... with his hands. It's like...
But again, holodecks. This is tech you should understand, at least. This isn't alien. But good transitions. They did seamless from 2 sets. Well lit, well done. There's a couple of those. But yeah.
But then there's... Oh, go ahead.
Well, she hugs him, but now at this point he now becomes less relevant in the story. He's had his time to shine. He's now just going through this PTSD. I'm in shock. I don't know how to deal with anything. He's been pulled in every direction. He doesn't react to any of it. So I think from this point onwards, the kid is basically irrelevant until right at the end, which is fine. Everyone else holds up the episode, so it's fine.
Yeah. Eugene, 250 rubles.
Hey.
Haven't got the notification. Why was Commander singing Baby Elephant Walk?
I wasn't.
When you were doing the dun 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 dun.
Oh, is that the song?
Yeah. Oh. Just because we were waiting to find out an answer. Anyway.
Yes.
So the energy thing leaves the planet's surface and comes right for the Enterprise, and I think it's the same. I don't know if it's the same effect they used in The Child, where the thing enters the Enterprise.
It's not the exact same.
They just ramped up the color and the brightness and.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be different. Could have entered a different spot, but it very much reminded me of that.
Also, why are the Bassards off?
They're in low power mode. I don't know.
Fine, but do you know what I mean? They absolutely missed putting the Bassard pass on. I mean,
Matt Boardman.
Well, he finished
responsible for this.
Nope, that was last season.
Oh.
But yes, energy life.
I'm still looking at you, Matt.
Energy life form. We get some rumbles, but it doesn't hurt anybody. Which I thought was interesting that it never went that far. Because you kind of, I think it's going to attack people, and it really doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I'm going to deal with it, Mr. Transporter Man gets flung out of his room. The CGI matching the people doesn't quite work. It's almost there. Almost there, but not quite.
Well, it moves pretty fluidly and stuff. It's a fun little scenes.
Yeah, and you get two security guys who are going to do what? I mean,
I don't know. They're going to look intimidating, point their phasers at things.
But you know what I mean? It passed through a shields twice, and you're going to face...
Well, they don't know that, though. They just got a security alert. Intruder alert.
Oh, I guess.
They don't get the full explanation. They don't get the brief.
Also,
just like, security dipshit guys that are just standing around doing nothing.
So you don't think
there's an intruder. Intruder by transporter room 3. Go.
So you think they were just going to statically hold weapons and actually fire them?
Yeah, I think they're like, stop or we'll shoot.
Stop energy force! And then they stunt man. And another good transition, pretty seamless, well done them. And I'm like, I'll never take you away anymore. Wow.
Yeah, and then the scene in the turbo lift is actually really great. Geordi's like, shut down power to the transporter rooms. Mm-hmm. Picard orders Worf to go to transporter room 3. Then as he's exiting the turbo lift, he says, bridge, seal off decks 8. Seal off deck 8, corridors A and B. I just love the way he just the whole situation. He just takes command of it. It's just so good.
Because we like the proceduralness of Starfleet.
Yes,
we
do.
Actually events being actually talked through rather than things happening and then boom, they're done.
No explanation.
This adds tension and drama and thought, and all pays off.
Shows captains being captains.
Yeah, I mean he is, as much as he can be. He's fully in charge of this episode. I'm sure he can be.
Before the turbo lift scene, though, I have a quote that Picard said, so I don't know exactly when he said it, but he said, Jeremy, this has to end. We won't trick you or lie to you.
I think that's later, but that's a good line.
Yeah.
Or it's in the Transformer. I don't know. But it's a good
I don't know why it's there in my notes, though. It's just really weird. Anyway.
So yeah, they...
Well, it dances around the transporter room for a minute. They go in. It comes out. There's no
Hello, computer. Right, guys. Now it's time to super chat. There we go.
There we go. Anyway, so it buggers off from the transporter room because there's no power there. And they message Geordi, say it's probably on its way to reestablish power, so just be on the lookout. Which I think is kind of cool, actually. And
then we get the first appearance of the inner section force fields, and it's such a beautifully simple concept, and it's so effective, and looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does look good. And then Picard comes out, lowers the force field, which I love. Mm-hmm. Walks up to Jeremy with a smile on his face. Doesn't even acknowledge the mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't acknowledge her at all.
Yep.
And hello, Jeremy. Are you frightened? No. Well, a little, sir. Mm-hmm. Of course, these are very frightening things that are happening.
See, he's being so captainy. God, it's such intelligent written script. Oh.
But we won't let anything harm you.
Yes.
Counselor, take the boy to my quarters.
No, he's mine. Back in the quarters.
Yeah, it's a great scene, and I love the way Picard handles this.
Well, he's in full ambassador mode. This is sort of Picard that we wished for in Star Trek Picard, because he's lost all of this, pretty much all of it, all of that demeanor, that strength, that negotiation. It's all gone. He's just a feeble old guy now with very little of the robust stuff. This is the core Picard captain ambassador. Needed more of this. Mm-hmm. Real shame.
So they head back into the quarters, and then we get a shot down in engineering where the thing is like looking through the panels, and Geordi says it's looking everything over, Commander, and then it reestablishes power to transporter room 3.
Well, he also says, I hope it doesn't blow us up.
Yeah, blow us up. I was trying to blow us up.
good. That's a fun line. That's a very Geordie line.
Hope it doesn't blow us up while it's looking for a way to blow us up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That was good. But yes, power's back. Everyone's surprised. And they say, stop him, Geordie. And he tries to disable the manual. Can you really disable the manual? Like, at some point, where are the safeties going to stop you from...
Well, he did.
Well, he did, but...
He did, because it's... it's looking at everything. Power's back in transporter room 3. I'm bypassing manual override. The transporter's down again.
Yeah.
It's like, up. It's off, then it's on, then it's off, then it's on.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
But then we get Picard again being full Picard, and basically finally getting through to her, getting through to the alien, and we get the entire explanation of who, what, where, how they are. We get
But she does say it's only a matter of time before we can power the transporters ourselves.
Yeah.
Picard's like, we? For whom else do you speak?
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out that the accident on the surface is a result of a tragic era from the past. 2 species once inhabited or shared this world, one of energy, one of matter. The physical beings destroyed themselves in unending bitter wars, and the beings left on the planet will not allow anyone else to suffer as a result of that dishonorable past. So...
And what did you think of this? As, I guess not the reveal, but a reveal.
Made me wonder if the matter beings and the energy beings actually knew of each other's existence. I mean, the energy beings obviously knew about the...
Yeah.
But did the physical beings, were they aware of them? Did they care? I thought it was an interesting idea to have them sharing this world, and they're what's left over. And since they're energy beings, they don't need the structures. They don't care that the surface is destroyed. They can still do their thing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how they kind of take responsibility for it and call it a dishonorable past, because it wasn't their people necessarily, the energy beings, that were responsible. So taking the onus on them, it's almost like the matter creatures were almost like their children or whatever that let them down, destroyed themselves, and they feel responsible. I don't know. It's got a weird... I don't know. I don't know what to think of it.
Well, it's nice they didn't go for solid matter creatures versus energy creatures. It wasn't that easy. Good, great. First hurdle we got over. I got the sense potentially that these creatures were feeling above the other creatures, and you're right. Didn't know the corporeal didn't know about these people, but after they started bombing themselves, as in the physical people, they were like, we could have stopped that. We could have saved all these people. We lived in harmony, symbiosis, and we should have stopped them, but we don't want to get involved until it's too late. And now, we are alone. We feel this loss. It is because of us that we didn't save everybody. We're gonna help these people, because you're right. If the people like us knew about the energy beings, then you would think to fight amongst yourselves would feel less necessary when it's on that advanced and that special and that energy and that sci-fi. It should make war feel less important when you got this amazing thing on your planet, you know?
Yeah. But never underestimate the pettiness of us mortals.
And we know nothing about the creatures either. Like,
exactly.
Zero. Apart from sound like coin creatures.
I would love to know the history of this planet and whether they knew about each other, if the energy beings were worshipped as gods, and they were fighting over their... Maybe they were fighting over their gods, their deities.
And they got everything wrong.
And the energy beings feel responsible for that because they misled them, or they felt like...
Well, there's an episode of Stargate where one of the ancients gives a lower race a weapon that defends them against an alien race, but they end up turning it on their own people as a way of saying, look, we're the most powerful faction, and the guy's like, well, I shouldn't have done anything. So yeah, what if one rogue energy being gave the corporeal something special, and that, there's story there. Although they never sort of explain, are they warp capable, were they an empire? It was just kind of like their wars. Who knows?
Yeah, I never got the sense they were warp capable.
No, me either.
I thought it was like a nuclear kind of thing,
Yeah.
Cold War.
But it's an interesting story, and it does certainly deepen the episode instantly. And you do realise very quickly there's zero malice here.
Yeah.
And it makes the entire episode feel simpler. Because there's no bait and switch, there's no real conflict, there's no depth beyond the emotions that the episode's about. You realise this thing's about loss and grief and nothing else. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting the way that this scene plays out specifically, because the energy beings are confused as to why they don't want them to help. And then Picard goes into his whole thing here. Like he says, I appreciate your motives,
Yep.
but his mother is dead. He must learn to live with that. Pain and anguish is an essential part of what makes us who we are. And they're like, well, we'll take care of him. We'll give him everything he needs. Are you prepared to give him friends, an education, a wife, a family? It's quite an undertaking, isn't it? It's part of our life cycle to learn to live with those we have lost. We are mortal. Our time is finite, and that's what makes us who we are. But he also calls for Wesley to come down. And no, it's a great Picard speech for sure.
Yeah, it's strong. You know.
And I understand the confusion of the energy beings too. Like we just want to help. We're responsible for this. We're going to take care of him. Give him everything he needs. Mm-hmm. Well, we think that he needs.
We can give him a life, but not a future.
Yeah.
And they're this is all new to them. And I'm sure they don't even. I'm sure.
Well, they're energy beings. Time doesn't mean anything to them. I get the feeling, and that's why Picard says that our life is finite.
That's true.
So you want to help him now, but that's not going to help him in the long run. I love the lost in translationness of their motives and what needs to be done, and their confusion as to why don't you want us to help this poor kid.
Well, it's like the concept of pleasure and happiness isn't all life is about. If you give a random person £1 trillion, he'll be unhappy. It's about other things to find purpose in. There's a reason why Bill Gates and other people who don't need for anything do things like helping other people. They do, companies do things that, they do things that mean something because they don't have these problems. Wealth and security, you need that challenge. You need that sense of limitation, that sense of whatever. So just being with a happy home, with everything you want, doesn't mean nothing. But earning it, living with it, these are important things. And, as Troy says, can you give him a wife? Can you give him a future? Can you give him a career? Can you teach? No. Well, yes, you can, but it's never going to mean anything. That's also why a holodeck can never substitute real life. And we did an episode a while ago on a ship, which is the one to Riser, and you postulated that they probably have a holodeck on board. Because why even need a holodeck? Why need Riser if you have holodecks? And I said because the randomness of Riser, the realness. I said they might have had a swimming pool in the ship. And you're like, why? Well, holodecks. I said, yes, but that's not real water. Again, the real is something you end up paying more for when you can have everything fake, because that real, as Tom Paris, in one of the episodes of Voyager, chicken soup with 300 varieties. Yes, but each one will taste the same every time you have it. Because if you cook it yourself, it'll be different, and that difference is what makes life interesting. And
that's one of the good things about Picard is Maddox, instead of making the chocolate chip cookies with the replicator, he made all the the ingredients for the cookies and then made them himself. So you can vary it up. And we've talked about the replicator and varying recipes and stuff before.
Yep.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
It's good real concepts that just aren't in a strong episode as other ones, where these messages are so important and so real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Wesley comes in and talks about his father dying. Says, Picard says, "Oh, so you were prepared for it because he was in Starfleet." Wesley's like, "I wasn't prepared at all."
Yep.
And I tried to be strong. I tried to be what everyone expected of me. He says, "I was angry for a long time. I was angry at you because you led the mission. You came home, and my father didn't. I was angry for a long time, but not anymore, sir."
Hashtag don't fire me. I'm not angry. Although Picard must have realised that, though. His face suggests he didn't think about it that way, but I would assume he would have obviously known that. It's a natural response, but that's a small thing. But I do like Wesley. Sorry.
I was going to say it was well acted on. What's his name's part?
Will Wheaton, because it's still sort of underplayed, which is a weird and hard thing to do in this sort of situation where he could just be like full on, but But again, this is why it's not about the kid; it's about the message of the loss to the audience, because this is an important sub story for this character, but not in this episode per se. But it's a clever PSA with using all the character stuff, all the different episodes. And again, this kid is very passive in this scene. He just looks and stares and does nothing. He says nothing. He has no interaction because it's not about him until he's already sort of crying, which doesn't work as well. And then he yells at Worf vaguely. Doesn't really quite work.
And then Worf steps up and says, human, my parents are dead. They died when I was 6.
Yep.
Humans helped me when I was alone. Yep. She lives my parents live in here. Your mother will live in here in Wester's chest.
Yep.
So is Hart.
It's sweet.
And join me in the roasty, whatever the hell it was. The bonding. You will be a part of my family for all time. We will be brothers.
Yeah. And it's nice. And again, Dawn is providing a good performance here. Understated, emotion-filled, and yet strong. And then an unusual choice. The alien lady touches the kid, looks at Picard, walks away, done. Doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Unusual
They realized, I mean, the speeches worked. They understand what's going on now, and the kid's fine. The kid will be fine.
Will be fine, yeah. But, and I like the fact, the obvious normal thing you would do in this situation is have the mum, play the mum one last time and say, whatever his name is, Jeremy? His name?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Yeah. Oh, goodbye. But the aliens realize, that's not my place. I can never be. There's no point me saying goodbye. I mean nothing to him. So even though it could have been cathartic for the kid to say goodbye to the mum, the alien realizes it isn't. This isn't real. He'll say goodbye in his own way. And I love that lack of something is the biggest something. Again, knowing when silence is important in an edit, in a film, in a show.
Yeah. This is something that would be very traumatizing for any kid, though.
Yeah.
To have your parent die, then come back and be like, oh, maybe there's a chance that, and then to have it taken away again, like for the rest of his life, well, not really, for the next few years anyway, he's probably like, I had my mom back. I could go back to that planet and see my mom again or whatever, right?
The problem
it's kind of awful.
I agree, but the problem is the holodeck. He could talk to his mum any day. So there's a certain there's a certain level of you choose not to because you can't let that destroy you. So it is weird like that. And I had another now we're almost at the end here. I want to bring up something else that I felt was a little bit odd. They specifically said his dad died 5 years ago, right?
Yes.
And yet they explicitly address this loss of the mum as if he's never had a loss before, having to explain to him the first time. But he went through the exact same explanation 5 years ago. Wesley's age, maybe not on the ship, but like he already had to deal with a very bad loss.
But his dad died from an illness, so there was probably time to prepare for it.
That's true. Hey, that's true. But you know what I mean? It's weird that they associate as if he's never had this loss. He has had this loss before.
Yeah.
They sort of ignore that fact and never really go into it, even though he's already been dealing with this. It sucks. I know obviously they had the mum, I understand. But he's already had the hardest loss once. He's a little bit more prepared than the average person.
Yeah. Area 51 at Trekyards, and in the silence as the house fades back into the ship's quarters, Picard softly says, "Shut up, Wesley."
And as someone else joked, "Shut up, Wesley, because I'm your father."
Wesley, your father's not actually dead. Guess what?
You'll be bald in 30
Where's
years.
Where's Murray Povich?
Where's Jerry Springer?
The DNA test revealed that was a lie.
Your Beverly says she hasn't slept with anyone since her husband died. So it says, wow. Big lie.
Let me unroll this.
So who is your father, Wesley? The options are unravel. Anyone on Starbase 21. Wow.
Wow, this went off the rails quick.
Yep.
Anyway, let's wrap up the episode.
Baldrick's
so
time.
Yeah, they just do this ritual, and he's part of the House of Moog now. And we talked about that at the beginning, kind of joked about it. He's going to get a lot of emails. Yep. Oh, you're disgraced. Oh, you're back in favor. Oh, you're disgraced again. Oh, you lost your brother Kern. He's not really a brother anymore. And now we're part of the House of Martog. And
yep. Yep.
Or he's just going to forget about him because that's what Worf does. He forgets about his own kids, so...
The writers don't understand how meaningful this is. And they should. Like, once he said he'd be a brother, I'm like, holy shit, that's a big ritual.
He's a dishonorable Klingon almost, because he does these rituals that he thinks are the honorable thing to do, and then forgets about it. Like if he's literally making this kid a part of his family and his brother, somebody that he should be responsible for, considering he was responsible for his mother's death, this should be an important part of his life. He should be being raised with Alexander, not raised because he has an aunt and uncle on Earth, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's the first question. Does he now move in with Worf? I mean, if he by definition he's now the Guardian, the official Guardian. He's taking that responsibility. They're not going to go back to Earth anytime soon, and especially not just drop off one kid. So what? For the next 6 months, are you living with Worf? It's a real question.
It's a good question. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be weird. It'd make this meaningless if then he's given to a Guardian, because then what's the point in this? I mean, Worf is no shouldn't necessarily be a Guardian, as we see later on. He's not a good Guardian per se, but it's such a serious thing to do.
Well, Commander Thribb says he thinks it's just honorary.
But the Klingons' honor is the point. Honorary equals your word, equals your goal. I mean, that's you know, I mean that's why Martok putting him in the House of Martok meant so much. Was such a big deal. Just saying it made it big. You know. And it is kind of sweet that he memorizes the lyric, the chant, just having heard it once. He was that in it.
Or to honor their mothers, yeah.
Yeah. Although it feels a bit weird when he has there's a picture of it I hope you've got it. When you do a close on him wearing the sash, I'm like, oh, is he going to be raised Klingon now? Like, this feels like such a big thing. Like, it's got the symbol on his chest. It's like, is he a Klingon child now? I don't know.
Yeah, well, they should form a club later, because after the other episode with the Data Kid, you got Data Android Kid and Worf Kid, but not really Kid.
So
Surrogate
Kid. They get the holodeck part together and play. And I was just like, so this kid's in full Klingon makeup and there was full Data makeup when they're hanging out. That's logical. Shut up, boy! Don't talk to me. That'd be funny. And then Data's like, I'm so proud. So am I. They fight just like us.
Yeah.
We are brothers, Data. And they are brothers.
Area 51, now he's off to Detroit to sell narcotics. Yeah, he goes to be raised by his aunt and uncle, and they let him down. So he rebels, and he goes and sells drugs.
Yep. And Cribbs also says, an Excelsior will come pick him up. I can't imagine there isn't that many ships. Like, this is such a low important issue. Sorry. Maybe they can drop him off at a starbase and then the next ship to Earth. I can buy that. But no one's going to make a special way. You know, like if she was an admiral's son or a captain's son, maybe. But not one of 400.
Just put him in a shuttle with one of the pads and videos of his mom. He can be alone on his way to the starbase, which is like 6 days away.
Or, even better, put the torpedo tube. Fire at warp.
In a Class 8 probe.
Yep. Try to warp he can travel faster than any kid his age. Warp 9.0. He'll get there in no time.
Anyway.
So there you go, guys. Still an hour and a half, Stuart. See? You have stuff to talk about. Yeah. Very low super chats, though. Well, very high super chats, but very few people. Which is, what it is. But, guys, this is now final. Olivia super chat if you didn't read it out. Don't worry, Olivia.
Olivia's super chat. Which one? What?
It was the last one. The $2. Thank you, Olivia. Stuart will find it. But yeah, super chat now if you want to give us your scores, your reviews, your whatever's, your thoughts. If you'd like to see another $30 at the end, would be great to kind of get a little higher.
Olivia Julius, $2. Sorry, I'm late. I'm here. Don't worry.
Welcome.
You're a hero, so thank you. Speaking of Samuel, we have to talk about a time to film with her tomorrow.
Yes.
Anyway, Tenchi 2K7 $5. Oh, I'll read that after I give my scores. Anyway, yeah, this episode is just all right for me. It's not anything special. It's one I don't really enjoy watching. I don't know why. It feels too simplistic. There's nothing to it. I hate the kid. I can't stand the actor. Even the mom doesn't. There's nothing here for me in this episode. It's just an episode for me.
So not even the script or the acting. You say nothing, because that's like...
It has moments, but it's nothing memorable. At the end of this review in season 3, you'll be like, the Bond? Oh, yeah, that one. Because there's so many other good episodes that just will trump it, like, instantly. Just boom.
But then why does Measure of Man work? Because that's also just talking people, well scripted, no action.
Because they're making a case for Data being a sentient creature, even though he was created by man. I mean, it's got a impactful message.
But this is about dealing with grief and about loss. And especially if you've lost a parent, I mean, this should resonate with you more now, especially. I mean, dealing with this stuff. Really, that's interesting. It's a nothing episode for me. So I guess you're surprised that I am being so positive about it.
Absolutely, yeah. But that's fine. I mean, that happens. So I'm not.
But you understand why.
Yeah, there's some really good moments. I said a few times during this review, like, I love the scene with Picard in the turbo lift. I thought that was great. Both of them, both the turbo lift scenes are fantastic. Picard, just Patrick Stewart in general in this episode was awesome.
It makes you sad about his Star Trek Picard acting because he's much better in this. I mean, my God, the writing and the
plus some cool visuals on the main view screen. I love that stuff. I love computer stuff. You know that.
Retro yet new. And guys, we've got a flood of super chats, which is great. I think we're another 15 away from being the 30, so a little bit more. But Stuart, give us your score then. All TNG and season 3, and then we'll read super chats, and I'll do mine, and then we'll have a nice game to
For season 3, I'm going to give it a 5.5. It's not the worst thing ever, but again, I'd say that a lot. It's just kind of middle of the road.
Well, it's like when we get to season 7 of TNG, it's like a lot of this middle of the road stuff. It's like, that's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's good. It's fine.
For all of TNG, I'll give it a 3.5. Okay. Just because. I don't have to justify it. I just did.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, if you want to read the super chatty things, I will...
Well, we got a few, which is great, so thank you guys.
Yeah. Excellent.
So Tenchi 2K47 or 2K7 puts in $5. 5 out of 10 for season 3. 4 out of 10 for all of TNG. Has good bits, but an episode I sometimes skip. Oh, and 10 out of 10 for Trekyards.
That's us!
That's us. That's us! See, I can act. Olivia Julius, $2. I give this episode 2 Captain Foley's out of 5. Cadmus 67 puts in £10 with no comment, no score, but thank you very much. That is huge help.
Score. He did write a thing later on. Oops, forgot to write the message. This is one of my favourite because of character moments.
Gotcha.
£10. That's awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. Dang.
That is awesome. Fleetpod Swiftback puts in $5. Paying for 100.
Yes, click like. I want to see 100 likes. That's the challenge now, guys. So you paid. You got to like.
We can do 100 likes, guys. Scores are 2 out of 10 for season 3.
Oof, Jesus.
5 out of 10 for TNG.
No, 0.5.
Oh, 0.5. I'm gonna say that doesn't make sense. 0.5 out of 10 for TNG. It's a very forgettable episode. There's not a lot of character development. Basically filler. Meh.
Disagree with that. I think every character has not necessarily development, but a window into their lives.
Yeah, window is a good word.
And it lets them all deal with the situation we've wondered about, which is what about loss on a ship. And this is almost ensemble TNG episode so far, where almost everyone gets stuff to do. That's actually kind of impressive because most are not like this. Come on, guys, we didn't get a single like for my plea. 93. Come on, likes.
Eugene. 250 rubles.
Yeah.
6.5 out of 10. Good and memorable premise, but everything else is forgettable. I can't remember a thing, only the premise. Yeah, that's the problem I have. It's just there's nothing in this to really sink your teeth into and lock onto.
What?
It's ultimately just forgettable. Like you see the corridor scenes, the house scene. It's just there's nothing that's.
You know what this is though? If I was to pull out a scene and show the scene, you'd be like, "That's a really good scene." But if there's nothing to connect them strongly, you don't remember them. But if I sent you
Well,
a scene,
exactly.
you'd be like,
Yep.
"That's well written, that's well acted."
Yep. No,
What's
I
it in?
agree.
Which episode's it in? Oh yeah, that one.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Ozzy Medeiros,
Hey.
$5
Hey.
for this episode. 5 out of 10, but 10 out of 10 for Trekyards and Skeleton Hands. All right.
And Dan quantifies that he didn't like this one when he was young because it wasn't exciting. Which I did call out earlier, that if you're a child, you wouldn't like this
kids
one.
would tune out pretty quick on this one.
I mean, Measure of a Man, I mean, being a kid is not a good, kids like Jar Jar in episode 1 because of Jar Jar, so kids aren't a good, like...
Litmus paper.
Yeah.
Litmus test.
Kids like Lava Girl and Shark Boy, so you shouldn't put that much stock in kids' scores. So yeah, this one's a tricky one for me. Can I give it 2 scores? Because I think it deserves 2 scores. As in...
You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
You're the commander.
Well, I can't. You're the captain. I think script, it's an 8 or a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Because it is very well written. And that needs to be made clear. It wins in that, right? But it doesn't mean the episode's great. You know?
Okay.
I'm going to say 8 out of 10. I think it's fair for script. Episode-wise, out of season 5... it's episode 5, so... Season 3... Which one was Benson's of Command? I don't remember what.
It was episode 3.
Yeah, what was that? Oh yeah, the fountain one.
Well, the aqueduct, but yes.
Yeah, because I like that one more. So I've got to give it less good than that because I like that one more. I have to use that logic, right? Because I've only got 4 or 5 to look at now, so I've got to give.
No, I wouldn't compare it to you. I don't look at my old scores. I just give it what I feel at the moment.
But that's a problem. The script is definitely better than that episode, and that was still good. But I didn't enjoy it as much as that one. And its overall score. Like I've got to try, I'll like everyone higher than you, Dan. I'll actually look at your score there. My score is a lot higher. It's tricky. I don't know.
Well, I just want to call it the Squadra course throws in $2 and says last super chat unless someone beats me to it.
Ooh.
So there you go. Unless somebody beats me. So there you go. The gauntlet has been thrown down. Who will pick it up? Olivia's here, I think.
You know what? I'm gonna have to match you. I'm gonna have to 5.5 overall.
Ooh, that must really hurt you.
Well, I'm thinking, but I think maybe for overall TNG I'll give it more. I'll give it 4 for overall TNG. I think that'll be my differentiation there. I think it holds up. Yeah. It like I say, the script is what matters there in terms of quality for me. But the episode itself is, it can't, it's like the JJ09. The script is like a 1 out of 10, but the action's like a 7 out of 10. CGI is like a 9 out of 10. So, you know what I mean? You can't judge it by one metric, otherwise that film would be dead, and we'd be happy. Yeah. Jeff Jacobs, you can't look at his and then base yours on it. Sometimes you have to think about what other people think about it to understand what you think about it. Sometimes. You know? Sometimes you need to process and think, and having a sense, Still my own opinion, just, I was not sure, and so you gotta ask for help in that. I looked at your scores. But yeah, it's definitely not brilliant. But yeah, like I say, script, it really is well done.
There's a lot of good scripted moments, for sure, and a lot of good character beats. But it's the connective tissue. It's the whole piece that just doesn't hold up.
Okay, you know what? Let me just pitch something to you. What if, right, we remove about a third of the TNG crew stuff because you have to make time. Instead, the kid goes to the holodeck and plays a pre-programmed, like, dealing with loss program. And he does like a scene with his mum, and you learn them. And as soon as he says "I'm programmed," the mum doesn't go anywhere. Turns
I like that.
She's there, and then he's like, "Oh my god." And she's like, the computer made me. It realized I've been brought to life by the power of the science. It's not really that. And then
your mom opted in for the benefits package. This is like part of the therapy. It's a new thing.
But he
Most
thinks
people
it's
don't
real.
know about it.
And they don't sense someone from the planet. So the crew are like, is this really the mum? Because, I mean, the holodeck can create a replica. If this is that replica, but being generated by its own, like...
See... What would have been better? Would better been better than that. I think is to see the beginning with the away team on the planet.
Yep.
And instead of an explosion, have something like Worf walk by something, trigger it. She walk by and have like a flash of light that like passes through her body and she drops dead.
Yep. Or disintegration
And
effect, but like fancy.
It's the same color as the effect that comes into the ship.
Okay.
So you're wondering, is it her? Like,
Yep.
is it her essence?
Yep.
Or is it an alien? And then you find out at the end that it's not actually her. Something like that would have been really kind of cool.
Yeah, maybe there's life on the planet, and it was sciencing them, but it can't interact with them properly. So it imprinted a version of the mum on its own self. That's just how that worked. But it's not really the mum. It's only the basic, like flash, like a ghost, as those people in the chat said earlier. And so while it can replicate the mum, it doesn't remember anything about the existence, and you know, beyond the fundamentals, it isn't the mum. And so the kid makes a choice. Do I want to stay with a shadow of my mum, or move on with my life? And so that could have been more interesting, absolutely, as well. But I think not having it be obvious it's an alien from the start would help, and also setting up the mum at the start would have helped. So basically, get better actors for the two, let them be the core of the episode, and actually have the kid be more active, or be a harder choice. Be more, no, mum, I don't. Have more passion there rather than very passive, I think.
Or have the mom push Worf out of the way to protect him, so he feels that's why he feels super guilty about her dying instead.
And then Worf has to shoot her and stun her and maybe kill her at the end, choosing a bit of action. Maybe the mum goes on a rampage because she's like, no, because all this energy being now senses the love for the son, so she starts destroying the Enterprise from the inside, blowing all of its EPS relays. Worf has to shoot the mum energy being, which
just making a whole new script.
Yeah, which destabilizes that energy matrix, and it has to return to the planet. And the kid's like, "Oh, you killed my mum again, you shit!" Then you have even more. You could do stuff with it, for sure. Yeah. But the thing is, this is the intellectual version. Yeah. This is the very Star Trek intellectual version.
Commander Thrib says, that's in a New Frontiers novel. Robin Luffler's mom dies, and she goes into the holodeck to talk to her, only for her mom not to vanish. Oh, turns out her mom's consciousness was transferred to the computer. It proves you can read. That's all it proves. That's pretty impressive, though. I gotta say, that's more than I thought going into this. So
I can't read. Come on, Stu, you know that.
I know you've been saying that for years, but now we know the truth.
Everything's an audiobook.
This is true.
I like audiobooks a lot, They're much better than reading. Don't like. I'm such a slow reader though. It's not worth my time to read it. Really isn't.
I am too. I love reading. If I can get into a book, I can really devour it. But if I'm not into it, I'll read like 2 pages and then I'll be falling asleep. And I put it down and then I forget about it. So, and I never carve time out of my day to sit down and read, and I should.
Well, it feels like you're making time as audiobook. You can just have a walk.
Yeah.
It's so
you're doing something else while you're reading, yeah.
Yeah. And also, I had this thing when I was young where, when I looked at, obviously school, for me, the black and the white of the contrast hurt my eyes sometimes, and they blended, and I couldn't, like, the fact that the black text, white page, it didn't work well with me, and I sort of lost focus and just wasn't good.
I reversed it on my iPad. I have the black background with the white text, which I think pops more for me.
Maybe.
It's better it's easier on the eyes.
Well, I definitely prefer that. Thanks for telling me about dark mode, because boy, that's changed my whole bloody...
Dark mode is a wonderful thing.
First thing I turned on this phone was dark mode. I was like, that is better.
Yep.
You can use it during night time. It doesn't kill your eyes. Love it.
Yep. Anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. So Squadra Course has the last super chat slot.
He does.
For now.
Yes.
I think Olivia must have left because she's not fighting for it, which is weird.
They want to give him the win. Is this a giving? I don't know. But Stuart, do you like this one more though, having reviewed it with me?
No. It's exactly what I thought it was. It's just an episode.
Fine.
Maybe a little bit more. Maybe I have a little bit more appreciation for it. Yes, because there were some really good lines and 1 or 2 good short scenes. There's a lot of short scenes in this episode that are kind of stacked back to back.
Yep.
It's not really like anything grandiose, and that I think that is one of the reasons it loses it for me.
Like I say, the pace is consistently at like a 3 out of 5. It's just like moving forward gently. There's never any like things.
Mm-hmm.
But it crams a lot of dialogue. Like, this is a cheap episode that's a bottle show that has a lot of dialogue. Good, like, yeah. It's a talkie, but, yeah.
500 rubles from Mr. Eugene.
Oh.
It says, G. The program designed specifically to help deal with the death of a close relative. This is such a good concept. And it's used in one of my favorite anime shows, Denoni Coil. Sorry for a little derailment. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
I mean, but you don't want to get too... Like, I was saying when I was watching this, I was thinking that would he even be allowed to go on the holodeck? Because if you introduce it to them too young, they might think too much of it. So is there maybe an age gate for holodeck use?
There would probably be. There would probably be the restrictions because otherwise you get addicted to it. Holo addiction is a thing we know with Barkley. And if you get introduced to it too young, it could definitely be an issue. So I would say yes.
So it warps the idea of reality. If you can create reality in a room, I mean, like, I wouldn't want to give an iPad necessarily to a kid of 2, of 4, of 6. You know, you don't want to burn that into them way... we feel the same on that, I know.
I don't agree with kids getting iPads and iPhones or parents handing off their phone. Oh, the kid messed up the settings on my phone. Why are you giving them your phone? Your phone is a tool. It's not a toy. That's not how you entertain your kids. You have to be a parent. So that's a big pet peeve of mine. It's for people that don't want a parent, and I hate it. And it's not the way to raise kids.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
and maybe I'm just an old curmudgeon who grew up in a different time, but that's the way I feel.
It's like I've said before, I appreciate that I grew up with no internet, floppy disks, a sense of nothing to appreciate something. You know? That's important to me. People that now I'm sounding old, but I appreciate I've seen tech go from very basic to something. I remember dial-up. I mean, there was no internet in my house. So I remember, but you just didn't think of it because there was nothing there. And now I can have this phone, this Ultra that has a beautiful camera. It's like, I appreciate this because I didn't have it originally. I had I had those first phones. I lived through all those generations as a young learner. I think that's important. I'm sorry, honestly, for more modern people that can never appreciate it in the same way.
And think about me, who didn't use a computer till grade 11 because there was a computer lab in the school, and I had the monochromatic computers.
My mum got a certificate in a computer because she learned how to code, part of her school learning. So she learned she got a degree in computer science. This is like, completely unuseful skill in the real sense, but she's like, yes, she had to learn, and it's just like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fleet Pass Swiftback puts in $2. I love dark mode.
Yeah.
As you should. And Squadra Course put $2. Maybe I'll win after all because everybody scooped him on the last super chat there. And Olivia's not here, so that's interesting.
Although
Ozzy points out Wesley and his friend was on the holodeck in the Naked Now. Yeah, well, he was older too, and I think kids would be still allowed holodeck slots. But it would have restrictions on what could be generated, how long they were in there, maybe how interactive or how real the simulation was. We had Fodder in Voyager.
That's true.
Which is like a television show sort of thing, interactive. But it's a learning program, like kids shows are. So I think they would be very limited in their time that they could use.
No, that's actually I forgot about that. So that blows that out of the water. Although that is later gen holodeck. They've learned more by then. Yeah. So, but
Olivia's here, but she's deferred for the day. She doesn't want to get the last slot. Okay.
Well, she's being kind to the other people that want the honor.
She's gonna wait. She's gonna wait to the queue and snipe them at the end. I know.
I'm not here really.
Fleet Pass Swiftback puts in $2. Nope. Sheer fucking hubris. Ooh. So Squadra Corps.
Oh dear. Where did he go, Mr. Oh, I was not listening to see. Boo! Hi.
Hi. That's it. So it looks like Fleet Pause won. That's fine.
But yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. We will see you at some other point. We'll let you know. Almost weekend again. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. Thank you for your support as always. Yeah.
And Olivia, I'll be in touch. Let you know what time tomorrow.
Alrighty, guys. Have a good evening,
Like
morning,
Jeff
night.
Jacobs, $2
Oh,
for Olivia, he says.
oh.
Doesn't count. Jeff, you're the winner.
Bye, guys.
Bye.